And if you do have blocks, just have one on each side of your mat. And we're going to start in Vajrasana or Virasana if that's comfortable. You can separate your heels and sit on your hips between your heels. Good morning. So welcome. So we'll start with our hands on our thighs, resting with our elbows below our shoulders. Give a roll of the shoulders up towards your ears. Take them back gently and allow them to soften down your back. And go ahead and close your eyes. And taking a breath in, feeling it move all the way down into your belly, expanding. And a nice, long, slow exhalation out. So allowing for a moment to transition from the mundane things we do each morning onto your mat, into this space. And feeling the body in the morning. Maybe it's the common areas that you naturally feel a little stiffness in the morning. And just allow the breath to move into those spaces of tension and let go. And then noticing those areas of your body in this position where you might hold tension. We're asking the knees to bend deeply, the hips to sit back in relation to the knees being bent and the ankles being stretched. And sometimes this can cause some unknowing tension or gripping in the muscles. So notice your hips, your calves, your feet. And just notice if you feel tension and gripping. And again, allow the breath to move into those spaces where you feel yourself grip and soften as you exhale. And then notice your breath first thing in the morning. Notice the lengths of the inhalation and the exhalation. Notice the smoothness of the transitions between the inhalations and exhalations. Notice if there's a slight pause between each part of the breath. And as you simply bring awareness to the breath, does the breath change? So this checking in we do each time before we begin our practice is a practice of svadhyaya, the practice of self-study, of recognizing our natural tendencies, approaching them with non-judgment, but just being aware of what do we normally do? How do we normally feel? So as we move through the practice this morning, I'm taking this practice of svadhyaya, self-study, of noticing our natural tendencies and working with those natural tendencies. This practice is forward-fold based, so introspective, looking inward. And slowly bring your hands to heart center, and touching the thumbs to the breastbone. And bow your head into your heart. And just making an intention of reflection, self-study, introspection. And drop the hands beside the hips. Slowly blink the eyes open and lift your head. And if you do want to use your blocks for this, you can. So bring your blocks to the flattest level and bring your hands onto your blocks. Hands are just slightly wider than shoulder distance apart. Knees are slightly behind your hips. Have toes pointing back. Start to press down into your blocks, gaze forward, and push your hands into the blocks and start to push your hips back towards your heels. So as if you're going into child's pose, but before you drop your head, stay up, press into the blocks a little bit more. Lift your chest, start to pull your chest between your blocks. Take a deep breath in here. And then as you exhale, lower your head between your arms. If your head rests on the floor, great. If not, just allowing it to dangle. Once you arrive into your child's pose, knees slightly wider than your hips, belly resting between your thighs. Pause here and notice the difference. Now that we're not asking the hips to be upright, your hips might relax a little bit more. And start to feel the breath and where the breath moves in this position with your belly between your thighs. And start to press your hands into the blocks as you roll your outer shoulder blades towards the floor. So an opening in the front of the shoulders. On your next inhalation, shift forward back to tabletop, hands on the blocks. Then remove the blocks and bring your hands down to the floor. Spread your fingers wide, feeling all 10 knuckles press into the floor. This time, tuck your toes under. And again, press your hands down into the floor, pushing forward as you reach the hips back. Gaze between your arms towards the front edge of your mat, so head stays lifted. And then lift your knees off the floor and hover. Still in this modified child's pose, so the hips are still back, stretching, deepening the front of the hip creases. As you inhale, shift forward to plank. You may have to walk your feet back a little bit. As you exhale, push back again into that modified child's pose. So knees hovering just above the floor, hands pushing down and forward. And inhale, shoot forward again to plank pose. One more time, bend the knees, keeping the knees close to the floor, really bending deep into your hip creases. And then inhale, shift forward to plank pose. Drop your knees to the floor. Turn the fronts of the feet towards the floor, and then lower hips towards the floor as you reach your elbows back. Belly down, chest down, forehead down. Walk the heels of the hands in line with the bottom of the rib cage. Roll the shoulders down your back, lifting your shoulders to elbow height. Press the front of the feet down. And really feel the fronts of your thighs engage. Press the thighs down. Pubic bone down. Inhale, lift your head off the floor. Lift your chest. Then press down with your hands, lifting up to low cobra. Lower belly, lower chest, lower forehead. Press feet, press thighs, press hips down, lift head, lift chest, lift belly. Come up through hands and knees. Tuck your toes under. Hovering the knee off the floor, this time in tabletop. Start to spread the sit bones up towards the sky and then lift the hips up and back into downward facing dog. We're going to spend some time here. So look back at your toes. Come up onto your toes. Bend your right knee and drop your left heel to the ground. Press the front of your left thigh back, lifting the sit bone. And then look at your foot. Press the inner edge of your left foot down. And as if you're dragging the inner edge of your left foot towards the back of your mat. Feel the inner thigh engage. Then find the outer edge of your foot. Press the outer edge down and pull the outer edge of the foot back. Feel the outer hip engage. Front of the quad is engaged. Perhaps lift your left toes off the ground. Inhale, come back up onto your toes. Exhale, bend the left knee deeply, reach the right heel to the ground. Look back at your right foot. Press the right leg bone straight back. Then find the inner edge of your right foot, press it down, and pull the inner edge of your right foot towards the back edge of your mat. Feel the inseam of your inner thigh engage and pull back. And find the outer edge, press down, and pull the outer edge of your hip back. Finding your outer hip engage. Inhale, come back up onto your toes. Exhale, shift forward to plank. Bend knees to the floor. Can you all hear my dots? Feet press down. Elbows reach back towards the hips, lower the belly, lower the chest. Press feet down, press thighs down, pelvis down. Roll shoulders, lift head, lift chest, lift belly, cobra pose. Tuck the toes under, press up to plank or tabletop, and then back to downward facing dog. Lift up onto your toes. Press the leg bones back towards the thigh, the hamstrings. Then lower your heels towards the ground. Find the inner edges of both feet. Press the inner edges of the feet back towards the back edge of the mat, feeling the inner thighs, the inseams, the groins roll back. And press the outer edges of your feet down and pull them back, feeling the outer hips. Pull back, lift and spread the sit bones, feel the side bodies lengthen. And if you can, lift your toes. Inhale, lift up onto your toes, gaze between your thumbs. Bend your knees, sending your hips back. So as if we're going into that modified child's pose, almost resting your belly on your thighs. As you exhale, step your right foot up between your hands. Step your left foot up between your hands. Inhale, hands to your shins. Start to press your shin bones into your hands and press your hands into your shin bones. Find the inner edges of your feet. Pull the inner edges back, rolling the inner hip creases, inner groins back. Outer edges of your feet press down, pull them back. Feel the outer hips pull back. And then exhale, fold. Grab the opposite elbow, hang. See if you can still find that relationship between the inner edges of your feet and your inner groins pulling back. Outer edges of the feet, outer hips. Fronts of the thighs firm. Release the hands. Inhale, come up halfway. Bring your hands to your hip creases. Pull the hip creases back as you reach the head and chest forward. And inhale, come all the way up. Feet can be together or slightly separate. So half salutations. Firm the front of your thighs. So in Tadasana, see if you can find that relationship of your inner groins pulling back, outer hips pulling back, fronts of the thighs stay firm. So we're really working with this relationship of that firmness of the front of the thigh to spread the hamstrings, to open the hamstrings. Hands beside your hips. Inhale, reach your arms up and over your head, gaze up towards your thumbs. Keep the thighs firm. Push the inner thighs, outer hips back. Fold forward. Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands to the shins. Find the shins pressing into the hands. Head, chest, reach forward. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, hinge. Fold, reach the head towards the ground. Inhale, keep the legs firm. Reach up, stretch up, look up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms reach over the head, gaze up. Exhale, firm the front of the thighs, roll the inner thighs back, outer hips pull back, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, hands to shins. Press, lengthen the spine, spread the sit bones. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, reach up, stretch up, stand up, gaze up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Hands beside the hips. We're going to take it a little further. Inhale, reach up, stretch up, gaze up. Firm the front of the thighs, inner groins pull back, outer hips reach back, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, hands to the shins. Hands and shins press. Exhale, fold. Step your right foot to the back of your mat. Lower the right knee to the ground. Point the toes back. Bring both hands up to your left knee and start to push your hand into your knee and push the knee forward. So deepening into your front hip crease, your hip groin. Press the front of the back knee into the floor. Press the foot into the floor. Inhale, arms come over your head. So keep pushing the knee forward, deepening the front hip crease. Then tuck your back toes under. Firm the front of your right thigh to lift the right knee off the ground. Drop the knee to the floor, tap down. Firm the front of your right thigh to straighten the right knee, lift the knee off the ground. Exhale, drop the knee to the floor. One more time, really firm the front of the right thigh, reach through the heel to lift the back knee off the floor. Exhale, fold, hands come on either side of your left foot. Step back, plank pose. Feet about hip distance apart. Bend the knees, so we're going into that modified child's pose. Push back. Inhale, come forward, plank. Exhale, lower down either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Press the feet into the floor. Firm the legs, lift the head, lift the chest. Cobra pose. Tuck the toes under, firm the thighs, plank, and down dog. So each time you come into downward facing dog, do that self-study. Do you feel the fronts of the thighs engage? Inner thighs reaching back. Outer hips pulling back. Do you feel the relationship with the feet? Inhale, right leg lifts high, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend knee to nose. And step your right foot up between your hands. Lower your left knee to the ground. Toes start pointing back. Bring both hands up onto your right knee. Push down for your right knee. And then push the knee forward. So sinking deep into your front hip crease. So the more you push it forward, press the back foot firmly into the floor. Feeling that engagement, the strength, stability in the front of the hip. Arms come over your head. Tuck your left toe under. To lift the back leg, think of firming the front thigh. So pressing the leg bone into the hamstring to lift the knee, reaching the heel back. Drop left knee to the ground. Firm the front of the thigh. So press the leg bone into the hamstring to lift, reach the heel back. Drop the left knee to the ground. One more time. Firm the front of the thigh. Lift. Exhale, fold hands on either side of your right foot. Step to the front of your mat. Inhale, hands to the shins. Roll inner thighs back. pull outer hips back, extend. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach up, stretch up, arms come over your head, gaze up. Exhale, hands to heart center. So feet can either be together or slightly separated. Sit back, fingertips to the floor, behind the heels. Push the knees forward, just like we did with our hands, but at the same time, roll your inner thighs back. Pull your outer hips back. Arms come over your head, Utkatasana. So keep the action of your inner thighs, outer hips. Exhale, hinge forward, Uttanasana. Step your left leg back. Drop your left knee to the ground. Toes stay tucked under. Blocks on either side of your hip if you have them. Shift back. Straighten your right leg. So we're going into Ardha Hanumanasana. Lower the blocks to the level, so maybe the highest or the second highest. Look down at your right foot. Start to press through the big toe forward as you pull the toes back towards your shin. Press down through the heel, isometrically drag the heel, almost as if you're sucking the top of the leg bone into the hip crease. Press down through the blocks, lift your head, lift your chest. Stretch your chest towards your right toes. As you exhale, fold. Maybe bringing hands to the floor. Keep that awareness, heel pushing down and dragging back as chest reaches towards your foot. Notice that the front of your thigh is engaged. And notice what happens if you engage it a little bit more. Inhale, shift forward, bring your right foot to the ground, bend your right knee. Hands to the ground, step back, plank pose. Exhale, shift the hips back, so that modified child's pose. Inhale, come back forward, plank pose. Lower down either knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga. Press the feet down, firm the thighs, press them down, lift head, lift chest, lift belly. Tuck the toes under, firm the thighs, press back, down back. Find the down dog. Find strong legs. Notice the more you press the fronts of the thighs back, get this spreading, this opening of the back of the hamstrings. Inhale, lift left leg high, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend left knee to nose. Step left foot up between your hands. Lower your right knee to the ground. Toes point back. Come up to hands on the blocks. Straighten your left leg. You can lower the blocks down a little bit. And flex your ankles strongly, pulling your toes towards your shin. Notice that firm in the front of your thigh. Then press your big toe forward as you continue to pull the toes back towards your shin. Press your heel down and isometrically scrape your heel back as if you're sucking the top of the leg bone deep into the hip socket. Inhale, press hands into the blocks. Reach your heart towards your toes. And then as you exhale, fold forward, perhaps bringing hands to the floor. So, Svadhyaya. How active are you? Like once you get into this pose, do you let things go or do you maintain your awareness of the firmness of the thighs? Heel pressing down, pulling back. Come up onto fingertips. Start to bend your left knee to bring your left foot to the floor. Hands crawl forward, tuck your right toes under, lift the right knee. Step to the front of your mat. Uttanasana. Inhale, hands to shins. Press, firm thighs, hips back, Inner thighs back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach up, sit back, Uttanasana. Pull inner groins back, outer hips. Push knees forward, sink deep. Exhale, hands to the hips as you come up to Tadasana. I'm going to start to move a little faster, putting those two things together. So either feet together or slightly separated. Inhale, reach up, sit back, Uttanasana. Exhale, hinge, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Head, chest, reach forward, hips back. Hands to the floor, step or hop, chaturanga. Inhale, scoop head, chest, forward and up to up dog. Exhale, press back, down dog. So as we move faster, can you keep the awareness of the parts? Inhale, right leg reaches up and back, three-legged dog. Exhale, hinge forward, bend knee to nose, step right foot up between the hands, lower the left knee. Inhale, rise up, Anjaneyasana, deepen the front hip crease, sink deeper. Exhale, shift the hips back, straighten the right leg, pull toes back, shift forward, forward fold. Inhale, arms come over your head, shift into Anjaneyasana. Exhale, pull the toes back, firm the thighs, straighten the leg, fold forward, Ardha Hanumanasana. One more time through this rotation. Do your self-study, look inward. Feel the parts as you move. Inhale, shift forward back to Anjaneyasana. Fold, bring hands to the floor or the blocks on either side of your right foot. Step your left foot up slightly as you straighten the leg. Coming into pyramid, Urdhva. Pause here. So feet are far enough apart that you feel the stretch, but close enough that you can bring both heels to the ground. Gaze forward. Reach your heart towards your chin. Press through the inner edge of both of your feet and pull the inner edges of your feet back. Feel your inner groins engage. Press through the outer edges of your feet, pull the outer hips back. Feel the outer hips engage, maybe they center. And then as you exhale, start to reach your heart towards your foot as you fold, bowing head towards knee or shin. Keep the legs strong. Firming the fronts of the thighs, pressing them back, spreading the hamstrings. Inhale, lift up halfway. Bend your right knee, move the blocks out to the side, and step back into downward facing dog. So just noticing, as we move one side to the other, how do they feel in relationship to each other? Inhale, reach left leg back, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend knee to nose, shift forward. Step your left foot up between your hands. Lower your right knee to the ground, toes point back. Inhale, reach arms over your head, Anjaneyasana, sink deep into the front hip crease, active foot. Exhale, shift back, straighten your left leg, pull the toes back, firm the front of your thigh. Inhale, shift forward, Anjaneyasana, sink deep, pull the foot back. Exhale, shift back, firm the front of the thigh, deepen the hip crease. One more time through this rotation, finding self-awareness to move, to be present in your body. Inhale, shift forward, Anjaneyasana. Fold, bringing the hands to the blocks on either side of your front foot. Tuck your right toes under. Step the right foot up slightly as you straighten both legs. Coming into Urdhva, pyramid pose. Hands on the blocks, press down, reach your head, heart forward. Then find the inner edges of your feet, draw them back, rolling inner groins back. Outer edges of your feet, pull them back, outer hips, pull back. Maybe feeling that right hip come in slightly as you activate the outer hip. Fronts of the thighs firm. Inhale, reach heart forward a little bit more, and then start to reach it towards your foot as you fold, lowering forehead towards knee. So if you're like me, every time I get into the release part of the pose or the pause part of the pose, I let my thighs go. I'm staying instead of staying steady and strong, I let the fronts of the hamstring or the fronts of the thighs, the quads, soften. Can you stay vigilant? Can you stay active in that area? Inhale, lift your head and chest. Bend your left knee, blocks off to the side, step the hands to the floor, step back, plank pose. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, scoot forward and up to up dog or cobra. Pause just to get the back bend in. Tuck your toes under, lift up and back, downward facing dog. Pausing, breathing, reconnecting. Doing your own self-study. How can you create more length in your spine, in your legs? Inhale, come up onto your toes, gaze between your thumbs. Exhale, bend your knees deeply and step or hop to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach up, sit back, Utkatasana, pull the hips, push the knees. Exhale, hands beside your hips. Pause in Tadasana. So Tadasana is mountain pose. And as we know, living in the mountains stand very strong and steady, very stable. So find that steadiness by the strength of the thighs, inner thighs rolling back, outer hips pulling back, finding the spread in the hamstrings. And bring your hands to your hips. Shift your weight into your right foot and bend your left knee up. Grab the front of your shin, interlacing your fingers, and pull your knee closer to your chest. So really feeling we've been working on creating that deep hip hinge in the front of the hip crease. And then press down more through your right foot, firm the front of your right thigh, and start to fold towards your left knee. So pulling your chest towards your knee. And lift your spine long. Bring your hands to your heart. Start to bend your right knee slightly. So you start to shift your left leg back and through into Virabhadrasana 3, Warrior 3. Straighten both legs, firming the front of the thighs, press them towards the hamstrings. Flexing left ankle strongly, press back. Bend your right knee and step your left foot to the back of your mat, coming into Anjaneyasana. Widen your stance as needed. Rotate your left heel down and in. So heel to heel alignment of your feet. Lift your heart and start to reach your belly out over your right thigh and bring both hands inside of your right foot. Press down through the inner edges of both feet. Pull towards the heel. Outer edges of your feet, pull towards your heel. As you pull the outer right edge of your foot back, feel your outer hip hug in, as if you could touch your right sit bone to your left inner thigh. Keep the left leg strong. Start to walk the hands out to the outer side of your mat and forward. So think down dog in your upper body. Think warrior 2 in your lower body. So feet still pressing down. Start to pull your right heel towards your left heel as you hug the right hip in. Walk hands a little further forward. and drop your head towards the floor. So getting that forward fold in your upper body. The legs are still strong. Walk your hands under your shoulders. Start to straighten your right leg. Pause here. Firm the front of your right thigh. Press the back of the thigh towards the floor. And then walk your hands and your feet towards the long edge of your mat, the left side of your mat. You might use a block here. Heel toe your feet a little wider. Hands start under your shoulder with the block between your thumbs. Press the outer edges of your feet down. Pull the outer hips back. Press the inner edges of your feet down. Pull your inner thighs back. Stretch your heart, head forward. Keep the length of the spine long. And then start to take your head towards the floor, resting your head on the block. So you have 3 levels of your block. Find the level. Bring your fingertips into your hip creases. Pull the hip creases back. Firm the front of the thighs. And lift and spread your sit bones. And then bring the heels, the hands in line with the heels of your feet. And breathe. So as you stay here, you might realize maybe the head can go lower. So just adjusting your block to whatever level you feel you can go to. We'll take 3 more deep breaths here, staying vigilant in the strength of your legs, the lengthening of the back of the thighs. Hands come forward, lift up, long spine. Hands to the hip creases, lift all the way up to standing. Turn your right toes slightly forward, left toes slightly out. Shift to the back of your mat, coming into Skandasana. So that side lunge. Hands can come to the floor or stay at your heart. Slowly lower the hips to the ground. And bring your left knee in. Grabbing the front of your ankle, pull the toes back. We're coming into thighs together. Right toes point straight up towards the sky. See if you can bring your left sit bones as close to the floor as you can. They'll probably be a little higher than your right. Inhale, reach your arms over your head. And as you exhale, fold towards your right foot. Sometimes it helps to take your right hand to the outside of your right leg and reach your left hand across to your shin, ankle, or foot. Inhale, lift a little higher. And as you exhale, fold as deep as you can. Comfortably. So again, part of the self-study is knowing what your body's capable of. So just taking it to that level of ability. Release your shin, ankle, or foot. Come up. Turn the toes towards the long edge of your mat. Lift the knee back up. Hands come to the floor. Shift back up into Skandasana. Shift to the opposite side of your mat, so the front side of your mat, and twist, bringing the left hand inside of the right foot. Right hand reaches up towards the sky. Gaze up towards your thumb. Exhale, bring both hands to the floor. Step to the back of your mat, plank pose. Exhale, lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, scoot forward and up to up dog. Pause, thighs strong. Exhale, shift back, down dog. Inhale, come up onto your toes, gaze forward. Bend the knees deeply. Step or hop to the front of the mat, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, reach head, chest, forward and up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach up, stretch up, arms come over your head, gaze up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Shift the weight onto your left foot. Bend your right knee towards your chest. Interlacing your fingers around your shins. Press down through the left foot, firm the front of the left thigh. So nice strong left leg. Pull the right knee a little closer to your chest. And then start to fold into your right knee. Spine long, hands to your heart. Slight bend of your left knee, reach your right leg back. Shifting into Virabhadrasana 3. If you can stretch your arms long in front of you, you can. I don't have that here. Both legs strong, so press the thighs, thigh bones back. Bend the left knee, right foot comes to the ground. Inhale, arms up and over your head, Anjaneyasana. Rotate left heel down and in. Fold inside of your left leg, bringing the hands to the floor, and then widen your stance. Press the inner edges of the feet down, pull back. Outer edges of the feet, pull back. Feel left hip hug in, and then start to walk your hands forward and out to the right. So down dog in the upper body, warrior 2 in the lower body. Keep the legs warrior strong. So right thigh super strong, pressing into the hamstring. Left hip is hugging in, keeping the knee pointing towards the second and third toe of your left foot. Walk the hands back underneath your shoulders. Straighten your left leg, pause here. And then start to walk your toes and your hands to face the long edge of your mat, the left side of your mat or right side of your mat. Find the inner edges of your feet, pull them back. So roll the inner groins back. Outer edges of your feet, roll the outer hips back. Firm the front of the thighs and then start to fold, reaching your head towards the floor. So you can almost feel the pelvis kind of rotate over the leg bones. And bring your head to the floor or the block at whatever level. So the more the thigh bones press back, the more the tops of the thighs engage, lifting them away from the knee. Get that spread of your hamstrings, the opening of the back of the hips, the lengthening of the spine. So perhaps as you stay, you can adjust the block or going no block to see how the strength of the legs give you the length of the spine. Notice those moments where you let go, where you stop staying present. Then inhale, lift up halfway. Keep the fronts of the thighs strong, bring your hands to your hips, press up. And then turn your toes out, shifting towards your right leg, towards the back of your mat, coming into Skandasana. Hands can come either to the floor or stay to the heart. Drop your hips down, dropping your right knee in. And then adjusting your ankles so that your toes point back. Sometimes rolling the inner thigh out or calf out helps to create more space. Bringing your thighs as close as you can. Start to pull your left toes towards your head, reaching your inner thigh towards the floor. Front of your left thigh is strong. Inhale, arms reach over your head. As you exhale, slightly twist towards your left foot, bringing the right hand to grab the outer edge of your shin, ankle, or foot. Left hand comes to the floor. Start to push your left hand into the floor as you pull your shin or your foot to twist more towards your left foot, and then fold, reaching head towards toes. Notice as you sink, is your quad muscle still engaged? Can you almost feel the back of your hamstring spread into the floor? Release your foot, come up. Turn the toes out and lift your right knee. Hands come to the floor, shift back to Skandasana. And we're gonna do a transition, quick transition, bending towards the front of your mat, twisting toward your left foot, right hand comes to the ground, left hand reaches up. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step to the back of the mat, move through vinyasa. So plank pose, chaturanga. Up dog, pausing for the back bend. We're doing a lot of forward folding, so those back bends are important to readjust the spine, and then back to downward facing dog when you're ready. So hopefully this svadhyaya, this self-study, is doing some good work. Being present in the now, so allowing thoughts to kind of dissipate to the side as you stay present in your body, but also hopefully you're feeling some hamstring lengthening going on here, some hip opening. Inhale, come up onto your toes, gaze between your thumbs. Bend your knees, step or hop front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale. Inhale, reach up, stretch up, arms come over your head, gaze up. Exhale, hands to heart center. So we're gonna progress that same flow. So shift your weight into your right foot, bend your left knee forward, grab your knee, pull your knee a little further. You can stay with this one, or you can reach and grab the inner edge of your feet with your right hand, left hand grabs the outer edge of your feet. Pull the knee up. And then as you exhale, straighten the left leg forward as you fold towards your left toes. Bend the knee towards the chest. Right knee bends slightly. Exhale, shift back to Virabhadrasana 3. Firm the fronts of the thighs to find the long hamstrings. Bend the right knee, left foot comes to the ground. Arms come over your head, Anjaneyasana. Sneak your right foot forward a little bit. Hands come behind your back. Clasp, fingertips together. Push your fist back, lifting your left thigh into your left fist. Fold inside of your right knee. Bring your shoulder to rest inside of your right knee. Firm the feet into the floor. Firm outer right hip in. So knee stays over the ankle joint or pushing slightly out. Start to straighten the right leg. Turn the right toes in towards the face, the long edge of the mat. Fist reaching up towards the sky, head reaching towards the floor. Firm the fronts of the thighs, spread the sit bones. Feet press down, outer, inner, reach. Inhale, lift up halfway, stay in the bind. Come up all the way. Toes point out, hands to the heart. Skandasana to the back of the mat. Turn the right toes up. Come to sit on your left hip point. Bring your left foot inside of your left thigh. Bend your right knee. Grab your right foot with both hands. Start to straighten the leg as you fold forward. Right shoulder comes in front of the shin. Wrap your bicep around the hip. Hand to the back of the hip. Take your right hand behind the back. Clasp. Reach your head and chest towards your right foot. Release the grip. Hands come back to heart. Left foot comes out slightly. Maybe you use your hands to press up. Maybe you just press up into Skandasana. I don't have it today. Shift back to the right foot. Twist. Left hand reaches up. Or right hand reaches up. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step to the back of the mat, down dog. So we're going to skip the vinyasa to keep the momentum. Inhale, come up onto your toe. Bend the knees, step or hop front to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, strong legs from the legs, lift all the way up. Gaze up, hands to the heart. Shift your weight into your left foot, hug your right knee in towards your chest. Grab the shin, pull it up higher. Stay here or grab the foot with both hands. Straighten right leg forward as you fold. Bend the right knee. Hands to the heart. Push the right foot back. Virabhadrasana 3. Hands can stay at heart or reach forward. Bend the left knee. Right foot comes to the mat. Arms come over the head. Anjaneyasana, walk left foot slightly forward. Hands come behind the hips. Interlace, opposite grip. Push the fist into the thigh as you lift the thigh into the hands. The back leg is strong. As you exhale, fold. Reaching left shoulder inside of left knee. Head falls towards the floor. Firm the right thigh. Firm the outer left hip. So legs are super strong. Start to straighten the left leg. And then turn the toes to face the long edge of the mat. Coming into Prasarita Padottanasana. Fists reaching up towards the sky, shoulders down the back, head reaches towards the floor. Thighs firm. Feet press down. Start to gaze forward, lift up halfway. Lift up all the way. Turn the toes out. Shift to the right knee. Skandasana. Lower the hips to the floor. Step your right foot inside of your left thigh. Bend your left knee. Reach and grab both edges of your feet. Push the left leg forward as you fold. Reach right bicep in front of right shin. Left hand comes behind the hip to grab your right hand. Keep firming the front of your left thigh. Keep reaching heart towards your toes. Release the bind. Step your right foot out again. Use either your hands or your core to press yourself up into Skandasana. Then shift to the front of your mat. Right hand plants inside of left foot. Reach left hand up towards the sky. Exhale, hands on either side of your left foot. Step back. And take one final vinyasa if you want, pausing in your up dog or cobra for the back bend. And once you come to downward facing dog, take a few breaths, noticing your breath, noticing your body, noticing your mind. So many times we can come into a yoga class and get lost in the flow, which is a form of meditation. Today, I ask you to stay present with everything. Do the study of the self. Bend your knees to the floor, toes touch, knees wide. Sit back in child's pose. So if you can remember your child's pose at the beginning of class, notice anything different. Noticing the breath. And what happens to the breath when you notice the breath? Shift forward to tabletop. Cross your ankles. Bring the legs forward and roll down onto your back. Bending your knees, bringing your heels in line with your sit bones. Hands beside your hips, palms facing down. So just to kind of counter all the forward folding we've been doing, hamstring lengthening, bridge pose. Lift the hips slightly, roll the shoulders closer to your spine, and then squeeze your glutes to lift your hips as high as you can. Clasp your hands behind your hips, press the fist into the floor. And to get a little hamstring activation and flexion, press your feet down. Find the inner edges of your feet, pull them back. Find the outer edges of your feet, pull them back, lift your hips higher. Soften your throat, soften your jaw. And see if you can bring your breath all the way down into your belly. Keep vigilant, stay active. We're going to relax here in just a moment. Push down through your feet, lift a little higher. Unlace your hands, soften your hips to the floor. Unroll your shoulders. Pause. Just feeling the blood kind of come into the shoulders, the back, the hips. And then take your arms wide to your body, T or cactus. Space is warranted. And then step your feet wide and windshield wiper your knees side to side. Next time the knees go to the right, shift your hips slightly to the left, and then stack your right foot on the outer edge of your left knee. So opening the front, did a lot of deep hip creasing, hip folding. So feel the length on the front of your hip as you twist. Bring your right foot back to the floor. Shift your hips to the right as you drop your knees to the left. Stack the outer edge of your left foot on the outside of your right knee, allowing gravity to traction your knee towards the floor and forward slightly, feeling the stretch, hip flexors. Release left foot to the floor, center the hips, hug the knees towards the chest. Inhale deep into the belly. As you exhale, completely let go, stretching your legs long to the ground. Arms down beside your body, palms either facing up or down. Relaxing your jaw. As we come into our final resting posture, Shavasana, allow your self-study to be on your mind. So as you rest, notice the thoughts as they come into your mind. And instead of getting caught up in the thoughts, simply label them. Is it a to-do? Is it planning? Is it judgment? And don't judge them. Just label and let them pass. Transition your mind back to your breath. Reaching your arms over your head, reach through your heels or your toes, stretching long. Bending your knees, roll onto your side body. Taking a moment to observe. What does it feel like to be so present in the now? Bring your hands to connect at heart center, feeling as your hands touch yourself meet self. After the svadhyaya, the self-study, feeling that inner connection deep down into the space of your heart, acknowledging that which lies within. And thank you so much for being here this morning. It's introspective, inward moving flow. And I will hope to see you again. The divine in me honors the divine in you. Namaste.